Hi, my name is Bob and welcome to the homestead, y'all. Well, last night right at dark, Christy and we got out here and picked the rest of these Midnight Roma tomatoes, and I thought, well, I need to go ahead and do my review on these. We picked a whole bunch last week. Christy picked a whole bunch of beans last night. She picked about a bushel of our favorite bean, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, and I'll put the link in the description in case you want to see it. But for now, these are the Midnight Romas. You can see we have about a bushel's worth here. Each one of these baskets weigh about 16, 17 pounds a piece. These are just a beautiful tomato. They're a decent size. One thing about these, they're a good producer. It's one thing we have noticed this year. They have produced a whole bunch of tomatoes. If you didn't see my video from the spring where we sprouted these, the seeds from them, you know, we waited over a year to get these seeds for these Midnight Romas. Look at the color on that one. But they are just a beautiful tomato. They're a good producer. They're semi-determinate. I think ours got to about 5 feet tall. We picked probably about this many last week also. There's still a bunch more we'll need to pick. But they're just a beautiful tomato. You can just look at them. Of course, they're full of the anthocyanins. The good antioxidants that make blueberries that purple color. The shoulders on them, the dark shoulders, they get darker the more they're exposed to sun. So if they're not exposed to a whole lot of sun, if they're up under some leaves, they won't be quite as dark as some of these. But look at that one. Look at the dark color on that one. It's just a beautiful tomato. Just a beautiful Roma tomato. So these are full of the antioxidants, and that's what we want. That's one of the reasons we wanted to grow these. Plus, they're a great paste tomato. They're a good tasting tomato. Christy and our granddaughter Riley are our official tomato tasters, and they say they have a good flavor. They're not super juicy, but they're meaty. The color goes through into the meat. The darker color does. So they're just a beautiful tomato. Now, as far as disease goes, this year was a terrible year for tomatoes and disease because we were been so hot so early. We were up in the 90s with a heat index over 100, and tomato plants do not like that, but bacteria and fungus does. So I really can't be much of a judge on their disease resistant, just because all our tomatoes this year were hit hard by disease. We fought it all year long, and it definitely wasn't a normal year. But I'll bring the camera a little bit closer so you can get a better look at these. The one thing about them, they are open pollinated, so that's a good thing for them. Of course, they just came out a couple years ago, and like I said, we had to wait about a year to get seeds. I'm hoping I'm going to keep some of the seeds from these to see what they produce next year. I don't know if they'll produce one of the parent plants or whether they'll produce the same plant that we grew this year. They're a great tomato. We're definitely going to grow these again. I'm going to try to buy some more seeds of these this year. Now, they're called a Midnight Roma, and the only place you can get seeds is at row 7. So they're the only company that sells these seeds. The one thing that we did notice, the stem on the top when you pick them, this stem is real hard to pull out. And I left a couple of these just to kind of show you. But it's real hard, so when you pick them, you will have the stem left and you'll have to pull it off. And then it opens the end up when you pull that off. One good thing we have noticed about them is that when they get a crack in them, they heal themselves. I noticed a couple of them, like right here and here. They are self-healing, so that's great. So if they do get a little bit too much water and they start cracking, they kind of heal themselves. I don't see any more. Right there's another one. You can see that it's healed itself over, so That's a good characteristic of the plant. They're not real fast growers. You can see here's another example. They're not real fast growers. They grow a little bit slower than some of our other tomato plants, but they are just great producers. They just bloomed away and produce plenty of tomatoes for us. If you have any questions or comments about these Midnight Roma tomatoes, please leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching.